Good afternoon, everyone. It's Alissa Coram and Ed Carson here with a look at the stock market today for Tuesday, March 28th, where we're seeing the major indexes stuck in a sideways trend, Ed.
Sideways trend. It wasn't, the major indexes fell a little bit, not a whole lot, but I want to take a look at a few stocks that are trading near buy points: Microsoft, Shift4 Payments, and Skyline Champion.
Well, let's do that. But first, let's take a look at the major indexes. The NASDAQ today down about 0.5%, the hardest hit as we're seeing this rotation out of tech, but the other indexes down today as well. The S&P down about 0.2%, the Dow down 0.1%, and the Russell 2000 heading into the close down 0.2% as well. So good to see a close off lows, some support around the 21-day line, it looks like, for the NASDAQ. But honestly, with a move from 11,000 to 12,000 in a week and a half, a pullback here and some support at the moving averages isn't a bad thing, actually.
Yeah, it sort of looks like a cup with handle right there. And a lot of stocks are forging bases. This, especially the Nasdaq, which has looked the best, pulling back, and a lot of the big cap, mega cap techs, they fell today, including Microsoft, which we'll get to, but usually pretty small losses. They just having a little bit of an impact on this. The market breadth was okay today after a decent day yesterday. So yeah, this is relatively healthy action. At the same time, we're not breaking out, we're not breaking down. I mean, the thing is, it's still a rally attempt. This rally attempt is been going on for quite a while. We still haven't had a follow through day. You'd like to see that. On the other hand, have the fact that we have continued to advance despite a bank crisis, which may be ebbing now, is also pretty positive. So we're in this range.
Yes. And as we've said previously, when you build a range, that can be a good thing because when you break one way or the other, it can potentially tell you something meaningful. So we'll be keeping an eye out for that. And elsewhere, let's take a look at the S&P 500. In its own range, we've got a trend line we can draw that would coincide with a move not only above the trend line, but the 4,000 level and the 50-day line. So that would be good to see as we see the S&P kind of ping-ponging between its 50-day and 200-day lines. We also want to take a look at the Dow hanging on right around its 200-day line, and IWM, which tracks the Russell 2000 small cap index, trying to find a bottom as of a couple of days ago, but still a long way to go up above.
Yeah, and I just say that the Dow and Russell, after pretty modest moves on Monday, still managed to have inside days. I mean, just barely, I believe. So that can tell you how quiet of a day it was. So that's not entirely bad, but yeah, we'd like to see a little more progress on the other indexes.
Yes, and let's take a look at QQQ because this underscores the damage that we saw in the mega cap techs compared with the other areas. So QQQ down a little bit more than 0.5%, although off of lows as well. But I mean, 0.5% down and still kind of near highs. This still looks pretty strong to me.
Yeah, the mega caps didn't have that much damage, and you can see, the 0.5 percentage point, not bad at all.
Okay, and what about chips? We've seen a lot of high-flying chip stocks as of late. So seeing SMH pull in a little bit, it was harder hit than the major indexes, down 0.7% today, but finding support at the 21-day, which if you're talking about setups for individual stocks, if you see a breakout, then an orderly decline and support at the 21-day line that's right around a buy point seems like normal action.
Yeah, it wasn't looking so good in the morning because some of these things were starting to come down, and some names were down 3-5%. But but that's nice to have sometimes you have to have that kind of thing, a little bit of a shakeout, and obviously chips having a pretty good 2023.
Yeah, I mean, there was one point where NVIDIA had so many up days in a row that it was bound to correct at some point. So now we're seeing, like you said, a lot of the stocks coming down to their either 5 or 10-day moving average, maybe the 21-day line pulling back in a little. So we'll have to see if they can continue to show their strength even though they're pulling back, or if they really start suffering a lot of damage. And then I guess that would underscore maybe we're seeing even more of rotation.
Yeah, and that's always tricky when you're going sideways. Rotation is a lot easier to deal with if you're trending higher, because some will pause while others rise. Here's the
Right.
situation when you go sideways. If there's rotation, the out groups are almost certainly going down.
Yeah, and also IGB. We've been looking in the software sector. You got your Megacaps, you got your chip stocks, and then you also have the software sector. We've been looking at closely, but really holding tight here. IGB is this tech software ETF, Ed.
Yeah, I mean, market leadership is narrow, but it'd be nice if chips could hang on, and then you could add in other groups like software. I mean, Microsoft is a big part of that, but there's a number of other software names that are showing some strength as well.
So speaking of Microsoft, let's go there. Why don't we? So here's a look at Mr. Softy, a strong run up from this upside reversal at the moving averages on the 13th of March. Broke out a couple of days later, but I remember, Ed, when we were looking at that breakout, even the session before on the 16th, just seeing how far this had run up so fast, it seemed like trying to buy the breakout wasn't really the best move. So seeing it holding up, trading sideways, volume quieting down, it seems like not just expected action, but ideal action.
Yeah, I'd agree. I mean, because yeah, it's strong volume on the way up, but it was getting extended. Now it looks a little, the 50-day line's catching up, the 21-day line's catching up. And yeah, anemic volume on this couple of days decline. So this is exactly, the kind of thing you'd want to see after that kind of move. This one's, maybe leading the charge in AI. I mean, along with NVIDIA, a lot of some big names, but so this is getting that element in there. So a lot of the mega cap stocks look like this right now.
Mm-hmm. And with Microsoft being a long-term leader, I guess in hindsight, when it was first getting back above some of these moving averages before it got extended, could have been an opportunity to buy this as a long-term leader. So with that being said, Ed, is it okay to buy on this sort of high handle shelf, or do we really want a longer pause and have those moving averages catch back up again?
Well, I mean, you could use it as a position trade. It's probably not a place where you think of it as a long-term leader position from this point, unless it does pull back or move sideways for quite a while. But that's okay. I guess Google is a little bit different situation. It's setting up right around the 200-day line. It actually, after today, has a handle. Won't show up for a little bit, but that should be a handle. So a breakout from there could be as a position trade or as a long-term leader trade, I suppose.
Okay. Bonus stock analysis here. Let's also take a look at Shift4 Payments. We've got our eye on this stock as well. A strong retake of the 50-day line on its quarterly earnings report in late February. And then we've seen volume quiet down for this stock as well as it finds support at its 21-day line. And this looks like kind of a bull flag appearing here.
It does. It seems pretty positive. The RS line is holding up at these 52-week highs, essentially. I mean, this could form a base in a couple of weeks, like a week and a half. But if it broke above, say, last Thursday's high, that would be breaking that trend line that you have there, and would offer an early entry. This was our stock of the day. It's just been doing really well here, and you can look at that growth. That is really impressive growth we're looking for 2023 and 2024. There's really not many stocks right now that had already been profitable that are going to show this kind of growth. So, and the valuation isn't crazy either. I know we don't like to talk about PEs, but some of these stocks that are growing strong have 500 PEs right now. So because they're just turning profitable, so there's a lot to like on the fundamental and technical side.
Let's round things out with a look at SKY. This is Skyline Champion, and this is a play on the industrial construction, home building theme, would you say, Ed? We've got an RS line blue dot and a pretty interesting entry above a trend line and the 70 level. And we got some volume behind the move today.
Yeah, real nice volume. When you think about how there was so little volume for a while in that area, it found support, a couple of weeks ago at the 50-day line. It's been basically finding support at the 21-day line other than that little area. This one has Really strong growth. A lot of the, I mean, this is the fiscal year is ending, then it's going to have the bad year like almost all home builders. You just have to just know that. It's had strong growth up until this point. You could see this flat base, which this is a flat base, by the way. It's not showing up, but it is a flat base. But you could also see this flat base as a handle to a much larger consolidation. Either way, it doesn't really change how you might play it, I guess. And they go, oh yeah, there's, I didn't really look at the, yeah, there's that whole thing, or the consolidation all the way back. And it's just, this is one that's been doing quite well. There's a number, and the fact that there's a number of builders that are doing, well, this is a little bit different kind of home builder, but definitely getting that same theme.
Yes, it is. All right. Well, thank you, Ed, and thanks everyone for tuning in. We'll be back with more tomorrow morning on IABD Live. So make sure you're tuning in, investors.com/IABD Live for all the details. We'll see you there, and we'll also see you right back here tomorrow at the close.